Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting.
Time for our daily sprint through the feed. Today, we're diving into, well, the chaos, geopolitical jitters hitting markets hard, big liquidations, but also tracking moves in AI, space, health, the whole picture.
Yeah, today's vibe definitely feels like whiplash. You've got this massive volatility, a lot of confusion, but also the U.S. trying to shore up supply chains, and tech just keeps marching on. Plus, the usual political sparring.
A lot to cover, as always.
Let's jump right in. Segment 1, Geopolitics and the Mineral Shockwave. First post is from @UnusualWhales. What's the news?
Breaking. The Pentagon has launched a $1 billion buying spree to stockpile critical minerals per Reuters.
Okay, $1 billion. Sounds like a lot, but is it really? When we're talking about things like rare earths, lithium, where the U.S. gets, what, over 80% from China?
Yeah, that's the immediate reaction, right? Is $1 billion enough?
Feels more like a statement than a solution, maybe?
Well, it's definitely a statement, but it's the signal that's key here, not just the dollar amount.
Yeah.
Look, USGS data shows the U.S. has been incredibly vulnerable on this front.
Right, for defense tech, EVs, chips, all that critical stuff.
Exactly. So this $1 billion, it tells the market, it tells everyone that the focus is shifting. We saw domestic miners like MP Materials jump 5%.
Yeah, right after the news.
So it's about signaling a long-term commitment to supply chain resilience.
Yeah.
Moving away from just pure efficiency towards security, maybe decoupling. It's making it a national security thing, for real this time.
Okay, but security costs money, and that volatility made it hard just before this. Our next post, this one's from @Kobe'sLitter, kind of explains the recent market craziness.
Yeah, this one's wild. Investors are waking up to some major news from China. The entire tariff crash on October 10th may have just been one big misunderstanding between Trump and Xi.
And misunderstanding, I mean, the S&P 500 dropped $2.5 trillion. How does a misunderstanding cause that?
It sounds crazy, I know, but the idea is the panic, which kicked off after that 100% tariff threat.
Right, on October 10th.
It might have actually snowballed because of a 26-hour delay in communication about China's actual plan for rare earth exports.
Which wasn't a full ban.
Exactly. They were export controls, not a ban. Once that got clarified, things sort of stabilized. But that 26-hour window...
That was enough to cause chaos.
It was lethal for anyone who was heavily leveraged. We're talking permanent capital destruction.
Okay, let's break that down for you listening. Permanent capital destruction in heavily leveraged accounts. What does that actually mean on the ground?
It means people were making huge bets with borrowed money, basically. Leverage lets you control a massive position with just a little bit of your own cash.
So you amplify your gains, but also your losses.
Precisely. So when Bitcoin suddenly drops, say 8% or more in just over a day like it did then, boom, if you're highly leveraged, your position gets automatically sold off, liquidated, wiped out.
And that money's just gone. Doesn't matter if the market bounces back later.
Gone. Which, of course, led to a lot of, well, dark humor online. Like post-14 from Ed Geiger Capital. It's basically that meme, the defeated guy.
Yeah, I can picture it.
Labeled, "Crypto guys seeing Trump cave 48 hours after their entire portfolio was liquidated."
Ouch. It really knows that feeling, doesn't it? Getting wiped out by the threat on the 10th, then Trump softens his stance just 2 days later.
It just exposes really bad risk management, honestly. That tiny window of political uncertainty just demolished people.
Which throws us right into segment 2. The crypto crash itself and these insider allegations swirling around, that liquidation number just keeps getting bigger. Post 12 from @CoinBureau. This is alarming.
Yeah, listen to this. Just in. Analysts warn the true size of the largest crypto liquidation could be up to $400 billion. CoinGlass says Binance API's throttling only reflected 5% of liquidations during the crash.
Okay, wait. The number floating around was $19 billion. Now maybe $400 billion. How is that possible? And what's API throttling?
Right, so API throttling. Think of it like the exchange putting the brakes on the data flow. When things get absolutely insane, like during that crash.
Caused by the tariff news.
Exactly. Exchanges like Binance deliberately slow down their application programming interface, the API. It controls the data feed.
So the tools people use to track this stuff, like CoinGlass?
They only see a tiny fraction of the real action, maybe just 5% of the actual forced selling happening everywhere.
Wow.
So when analysts try to piece together the real picture across all platforms, they're saying, okay, maybe $100 billion is more realistic. That $400 billion is the extreme upper estimate.
But the point is the official numbers were way, way off because the system just couldn't keep up.
The system choked. It moved too fast.
And when you have that kind of sudden, massive loss tied to politics, Well, people start looking for who might have benefited unfairly. Which brings us to post 35 from @ArnoWhale.
Breaking. Barron Trump just ordered a mega yacht worth $500 after the biggest crash in crypto.
Yeah.
Everyone lost money, but Barron Trump didn't.
Okay, this is obviously satire, right? But it taps into something real. There were those reports about Barron Trump's crypto gains, like $80 million, and that World Liberty financial token stuff.
Right, the $150 million net worth claims. This post just plays on that existing online skepticism. Did someone know something?
And it feeds into those unverified rumors about that huge short bet, the $1.1 billion one placed just before the tariff news broke, the one that supposedly made $27 million.
Exactly. It raises that uncomfortable question, who profits when markets go haywire because of politics? And it's not just rumors. We're seeing big names get drawn in. Post 9 shows CZ, the former Binance CEO.
Yeah, what's he saying?
He's circulating this really complex blockchain investigation, but adds, not sure validity, hopes one can cross-check.
Okay, so he's putting it out there but hedging. What's the investigation about? Who's the whale they're chasing?
They're trying to identify this anonymous whale on Hyperliquid. This account did some massive trades during the chaos, swapped $4.23 billion Bitcoin for Ether, and made a huge $735 million Bitcoin short bet.
And made a killing, I assume.
Netted about $200 million, yeah. The investigation tries to link this whale's activity through things like ENS domains back to a guy named Garrett Jin.
Garrett Jin. Isn't he connected to that collapsed exchange Bit4X?
Co-founder, yeah. So the implication is potentially massive. Someone tied to a failed exchange might have used, maybe non-KYC channels, insider info.
To plea the market during that politically driven crash.
That's the speculation it fuels. It connects potential high-level fraud right back to the volatility we all saw.
Okay, let's shift gears completely. Segment 3, global affairs and cultural flashpoints. Moving from market chaos to diplomacy and politics. Post 34 at Piers Morgan taking aim at Senator Sanders.
He says, "Good morning, Senator Sanders. You've posted 16 Trump-bashing sentiments in the last week, but I can't find a single post from you about the most consequential peace plan for the Middle East in decades or President Trump's leading role in it. Any reason."
Okay, so Morgan's pointing out Sanders' silence on Trump's Gaza peace plan. That's the 20-point one, right? Ceasefire, hostages, Hamas disarmament.
The one Israel's cabinet actually endorsed back on October 9th, yeah.
So Morgan's basically highlighting how partisan things are. Like, your political side determines which major news events you even acknowledge.
Exactly. And speaking of conflict, language matters so much in how these things are framed. Post 20 from @AlnarMcLeod picks up on that.
What's the quote?
He just posts, "Do these people even hear themselves?" Alongside a critique.
What's he critiquing?
A New York Times article. It described an Israeli soldier involved in a battle as having been kidnapped from his tank.
Kidnapped from his tank. Why is that wording significant?
Well, kidnapped implies a passive victim, doesn't it? Whereas in a battle, words like captured might be more neutral. We're just describing the military action itself.
So the choice of words subtly shapes how you, the reader, see the soldier and the situation. Victim versus active combatant.
Precisely. Language is powerful in framing perception.
Okay, bringing it back stateside. Some domestic controversy viewed through a satirical lens. Post 13 from @MattIglesias.
Vance seems to want us to believe that Holman was paid $50,000 in cash in a paper bag for normal non-bribe reasons, as tends to happen in life.
Huh. Okay, pure sarcasm there. That's aimed at J.D. Vance defending Tom Homan, right? Trump's former border czar.
Yeah, the allegation is Holman took $50 cash in a bag from undercover FBI agents, supposedly for influencing contracts.
And Vance's defense was less than convincing, apparently. Iglesias is just mocking the attempt to normalize getting handed a paper bag full of cash.
Pretty much highlights the absurdity.
Huh?
And finally, let's touch on crime stats because numbers can be tricky. Post 6 from @MarkLevin_NYC shows a comparison.
Reads, murders per 100K residents. Houston, 19.0, Dallas, 16.6, San Antonio, 15.9 feet, worth 10.8, NYC, 4.6. Okay, on the surface, NYC looks way safer than those Texas cities, but you mentioned there's a catch.
There's a potential big catch. It's about how the data is collected. The FBI shifted to a new system called NIBRS. NIBRS demands much more detailed crime reporting from police departments. The problem is compliance is patchy. For 2023, only about 24% of New York police departments, and that includes the NYPD, actually submitted their data under this new system.
Ah, so if the biggest department isn't fully reporting or reporting under the new detailed system,
it could mean a significant undercount of actual violent crime in NYC compared to places where reporting might be more complete under the new standard.
Got it. So comparing those numbers directly is really problematic until everyone's properly using the same system.
Exactly. Makes those simple comparisons pretty misleading right now.
Okay, segment 4, wellness and future tech check. Let's pivot from all that chaos to maybe some personal strategy and what's next in tech. Post 7 from @NTFabiano is short, but kind of deep.
It just says, you're not depressed, you just lost your quest.
Lost your quest. Interesting phrase. And there's actually some science behind this idea, isn't there? About focus.
Yeah, there was a 2010 study in Science found people's minds wander almost half the time they're awake, like 47%. And that mind wandering correlated with being about 10.8% less happy.
Wow. So just letting your mind drift makes you less happy.
Apparently so. The study suggested that being focused, truly engaged in something, boosted happiness more than the actual activity itself.
So finding your quest, it's about having that focus, that purpose, a direction to counter all the noise and distraction.
That's the idea. Having sustained purpose helps fight off that modern life anxiety and, well, aimlessness.
And that desire for deeper answers for the why shows up in health discussions too. Post 28 from @CedoilDZempany and ReSketchar points out a clash.
Reads, doctors are now openly mocking how patients are asking about the root cause of diseases instead of just taking the pills.
Oof. Yeah, that captures a real tension. You have conventional medicine, often quick with a prescription.
Right. And then you have the functional medicine side, pushing people to look at diet, lifestyle, the underlying root causes.
And this post, it's highlighting that mockery, maybe a bit satirical itself, but points to doctors sometimes dismissing patients who want to dig deeper than just symptom management.
Yeah, it's that clash between the pill for an L approach and patient empowerment, looking for lifestyle answers.
So while some are looking inward for root causes, tech is definitely looking outward and upward. Post 16, this is about XAI, Elon Musk's AI company.
Yeah, the FT reported, Elon Musk's XAI is developing a technology known as world models, which are artificial intelligence, AI systems, capable of understanding and designing physical environments, hired former Nvidia specialists.
World models, that sounds big. How is that different from the AI we usually talk about, like the language models, Grok, and things like that?
It's a fundamental shift. LLMs process text, language information. World models are about understanding and simulating the physical world.
Like physics, how things interact.
It's exactly. Physics, materials, how systems behave dynamically. The goal is for AI to model, predict, and even design things in the real physical environment. Think supply chains, autonomous cars interacting, maybe even designing new materials.
Well, okay, that sounds potentially transformative.
It's why Nvidia thinks the market for this could eventually be enormous, maybe approaching the scale of the entire global economy, like $100 trillion, because it lets AI optimize the physical world, not just information.
Right. And while AI models the world, SpaceX is still trying to leave it. Post 15 gives us an update on Starship.
Counting down to Starship's 11th flight test, the launch window opens on Monday at 6:15 p.m. CT, and weather is currently 80% favorable for launch.
Flight 11, this is the last one for this version, Block 2, right? Before they move to upgrades.
That's the plan. And a really key goal for this flight is nailing the booster landing burn. They're using 13 engines for it this time.
And if they nail that,
it's a huge step towards rapid reusability.
Yeah.
Being able to land and relaunch that massive booster quickly is the holy grail for making space travel much, much cheaper. It changes the whole game.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what's the takeaway vibe from today's feed? It feels like conflicting signals everywhere.
Totally. On one side, you have just extreme financial volatility, these huge liquidations driven by political confusion, whispers of fraud. It feels unstable, fast, kind of dangerous.
Yeah, the ground feels shaky. But then on the other side,
you see these massive, almost relentless pushes forward. Billions into securing supply chains, AI taking these leaps into modeling the physical world, SpaceX pushing the boundaries of rocketry, huge advancements happening regardless of the daily noise.
So massive change and volatility seem like the only constants right now, whether it's markets crashing or tech accelerating.
Pretty much. Which leads us to that final thought we wanted to leave you with today.
It connects back to that quest idea. In a world where the financial rules, the political landscape can seemingly change overnight, how do you actually focus on your purpose, your quest?
And is all this rapid innovation happening despite the surrounding chaos? Or is the chaos itself creating these high-stakes problems that are driving these technological leaps?
Something for you to chew on.
Until next time.
That's our daily Vivecasting for today. Catch you tomorrow.